The West has a way of testing a man. Sometimes it tests your strength, sometimes your grit, sometimes your soul, but every now and then, it tests your heart in ways you never saw coming. And the story you're about to hear, that unfolded under the burning skies and dusty trails of the frontier, is one that still echoes like a ghost in the wind. Welcome to Frontier Echoes, where every tale rides straight out of the Wild West, raw and untamed. Today's story is something different, something deeper. So sit tight in the saddle, because this one begins with a choice that changed everything. I wasn't planning on saving anyone that day. Truth be told, I just wanted a quiet morning, maybe a cup of coffee if I could keep the fire steady enough. But the frontier doesn't care much about what a man wants. It gives you what it wants. And that morning, it gave me her. I'd ridden into the southern canyons to check my traps. Coyotes were thick that season, and I didn't want to lose any more chickens to their nighttime raids. The sun had just climbed over the red cliffs, warm and gold, when I heard rustling near the cottonwoods. Not the kind of rustling an animal makes, too deliberate, too soft. Human. I slowed my horse and scanned the brush. That's when she stepped out. Young, Apache, dressed in worn hide clothing, hair long and tangled like she'd been running for days. Her dark eyes locked onto mine, cautious but not afraid. She was holding nothing, no weapon, no bundle, nothing but a kind of stubborn dignity carved into her face. She looked at me like a woman who'd made up her mind long before I arrived. "You help?" she asked in rough, broken English. Her voice was barely more than a whisper, but there was strength behind it, something unshakable. I dismounted slowly, making sure not to spook her. "Depends what you need," I said. She took a shaky breath, clutching her own arms as if holding herself together. "Men chase me," she said. "Bad men. White men. Now, I've been in the West long enough to know trouble when I see it." And she wasn't lying. Her dress was torn, her face bruised, and her feet cut from running barefoot on rock. "Where are your people?" I asked. She looked away, jaw tight. "Gone. Far. I cannot find camp." "Then you need to go back north," I said gently. "Find your band. It's safer with your own." She shook her head so sharp and fierce it startled me. She stepped closer until she was just a breath away, eyes burning. "No," she said. "I don't go." "Why not?" Her voice cracked. "They sell me." That hit me like a punch to the gut. Some bands, when desperate, did things they never should have done. Some white traders encouraged it. And some women got caught in the middle with no power to say no. "Please," she whispered. "Don't send me back." Before I could answer, a distant shout echoed from somewhere beyond the canyon. Men's voices. Angry. Searching. She froze. "They come," she said. "If they take me, I die." Something in me snapped into place. I don't know if it was instinct, guilt, fate, or something older, more primal. I just knew I wasn't going to hand her over to whoever was hunting her. "Come on," I said and motioned to my horse. "We need to move." She didn't hesitate. She jumped up behind me, wrapping her arms tightly around my waist as we rode hard into the hills, away from the canyon, away from the danger closing in. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know what I was getting into. But I knew one thing for sure, someone wanted her badly. And that made me want to keep her safe even more. My cabin sat deep in the pines, a good hour's ride from the nearest trail. Perfect for disappearing. When we arrived, she slid off the horse before I even stopped properly and ran toward the water barrel, gulping down handfuls of water like a dying deer. Inside, she sank onto the floor near the fire. She looked so small then. Small, but not fragile. More like a wild creature injured, wary but refusing to break. "What's your name?" I asked. She hesitated, eyes narrowing with caution. Then she answered. Tala. Tala, I repeated. All right. Tala, you'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we figure out. No, she cut in sharply. I stay. Not one night. I stay here. I blinked at her. That's not how this works. You don't even know me. She looked right into my eyes, deadly certain. I know enough. Well, I don't need trouble. You have trouble, she said, nodding toward the distant canyon. You save me. They come. They look. They not stop. So trouble already here. I cursed under my breath. She had a point. Still, I said, a woman like you needs. That's when she stood, walked toward me, and said the words that froze me to the bone. Please, let me stay. I'll give you more than any white woman ever could. The room felt suddenly smaller, the crackle of fire louder. Her voice wasn't seductive, wasn't manipulative. It wasn't the voice of a woman trying to buy safety. It was the voice of someone who had nothing left to bargain with except herself. I stepped back slightly, my jaw tight. You don't owe me anything. She shook her head fiercely. Not owe. Choose. You don't have to offer anything. I want to stay, she insisted. I cook. I clean. I help you. I stand with you. I'm not afraid. And the other part? I asked quietly. She looked me dead in the eyes, unashamed. Only if you want. But I stay either way. The firelight flickered across her face. She wasn't begging for desire. She was begging for a place in the world. A place where she wasn't hunted, traded, or treated like a possession. I looked at her for a long time. Then I nodded. You can stay. The relief that washed over her face nearly broke me. Life with Tala shifted something in the cabin. I'd lived alone for years, but suddenly the place felt alive. She moved quietly but efficiently, tending the fire before dawn, grinding corn, patching torn fabric, bringing in water from the stream. She worked hard, harder than anyone I'd ever seen. But it wasn't just the work. It was the way she watched the world. She studied clouds like they were messages from the sky. She listened to the forest as if it spoke to her. She never wasted food, never wasted words, never wasted a chance to help. After 3 days, I found her sweeping the porch. You don't have to do all that, I said. She smiled softly. I want this place clean. It is my home now. I didn't correct her. Part of me didn't want to. But the peace didn't last. Because 2 days later, the men came. I spotted them while chopping wood, a trio of riders, rifles across their saddles. They weren't cowboys. They weren't friendly. Their eyes were sharp, greedy, dead. One of them tipped his hat. Evenin', he said. You seen an Indian girl around here? About yeah hi, pretty little thing. I kept my face stone still. Haven't seen anyone. You sure? Another said, leaning forward with a smirk. Girl's worth a fortune. Her tribe wants her back. Someone like you could use the cash. She's not here, I said again, colder this time. The third rider spat into the dirt. Well, we'll check around anyway. You won't, I said. All three stiffened. You threatening us, cowboy? The first one asked. No, I answered. Just telling you how it's gonna be. His hand drifted toward his gun. I didn't move. But inside the cabin, behind the curtain, I knew Tala was watching. The tension hung like a rattlesnake's hiss. Then, without warning, Tala stepped outside. She stood beside me, chin lifted, eyes blazing. Not afraid. The men grinned wide. There she is. My stomach twisted. Tala stepped closer to me, almost touching my arm. "Is she with you?" one man asked. I didn't hesitate. "She is." They glanced at each other. "That makes things simple," one said. "We'll take her off your hands." "No," I said. They looked stunned. "No? You keepin' her?" "Yes." "Why?" one demanded, anger rising. "She ain't your kind." Tala answered before I could. "I am with him." "Leave." Her voice was steady. Fierce. The first man laughed. "Look at that, cowboy. She trained quick." My jaw clenched. "Last warning," I said. "Right away." The leader leaned closer in the saddle. "You ain't man enough to stop." He never finished. A single shot cracked through the trees. One of the men yelped and nearly toppled off his horse. An arrow, an Apache arrow, was buried in the tree beside his head. More followed. Shadows moved in the tree line. They weren't here for me. They were here for her. The men took off in a panic, shouting curses as they fled. The woods grew quiet again. Tala exhaled shakily and turned to me. "You protect me," she whispered. "Now my people protect." And from the shadows stepped an older Apache man, her uncle, judging by the resemblance. He looked at her, then at me, his eyes measuring. "You keep her safe," he said in slow English. "I did," I answered. He nodded once. "She choose stay with you?" Tala moved closer, standing firm. "Yes." He looked at me again. This time, with respect. "Then she stays. She is woman. She chooses path." He touched his fist to his chest, a warrior's sign, then disappeared back into the trees. Tala watched him leave without breaking. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled. "I am free now." Then she added something softer. "And I stay with you." Life after that changed in quiet, powerful ways. Tala wasn't just surviving anymore. She was living. She taught me her language. I taught her mine. She patched my clothes, tended the fire, learned to ride my horse. I watched her transform from frightened runaway into something strong, like a hawk that had finally found open sky. One night, as the fire crackled low, she sat beside me on the floor, closer than usual. "I tell you something," she whispered. "Sure." She placed her hand on my chest, right above my heart. "I say that I give you more than any white woman," she said softly. But I was wrong. I frowned slightly. "Wrong how?" "I give you not body," she whispered. "I give you this." Her hand pressed gently, warmly. "My heart. My life. My loyalty. All." I swallowed hard. "Tala, you don't have to." "I want to," she said firmly. "You saved me. Not just from men. From life I did not choose. Now I choose this. I choose you." The firelight warmed the room, glowing like the beginning of something rare. Something pure. I covered her hand with mine. "And I choose you," I said. Her eyes softened, shining like the edge of dawn. From that night on, she never slept apart from me. Never walked behind me. Never hesitated to stand at my side, in danger, in quiet, in everything the frontier threw at us. Some folks might never understand why a cowboy and an Apache woman built a life together in a world that didn't want them to. But the frontier has room for many stories. And ours? Ours started with a woman who begged to stay. And a man who didn't realize until too late that he needed her just as much as she needed him. If you enjoyed this tale, stay close to Frontier Echo.